Intercompany processing in Business Central allows companies to streamline their cross-company transactions more efficiently. This can include distributing expenses across different companies with due to and due froms, and it can also be used for intercompany sales transactions whenever you have a distributor to manufacturer relationship or whenever one company will be supplying goods to another company in your business. For our example today, I'm going to be showing you a business relationship that exists between Kronos USA and Kronos Holdings. As you can see, if I click on my company button, I have both companies here in the same Business Central instance. However, this does not need to be the case. They can be on separate tenants. The intercompany module is easily administered in each of the companies inside the relationship. If we go to the intercompany setup window, you can see that the company that I'm logged into, USA, has a trading partner of Kronos Holdings down here at the bottom, and I have various options for how the transactions will be handled between the companies. If I click on Kronos Holdings, which is my intercompany partner, I can see that I have specifics on how sales transactions and purchasing transactions will be handled. We have due to and due from accounts if we have any expense distribution or revenue distribution in between the accounts. You can see I have balance sheet accounts here as offsets. Or if I have a distribution relationship with my intercompany partner, I can set up unique customer numbers and vendor numbers so that we can transact freely between the two companies. I'll show you examples of each of these scenarios. Regardless of how many intercompany relationships you have with a single entity in Business Central, an important concept is the intercompany chart of accounts. This chart of accounts is shared by all the companies and should contain all accounts that are used for expense or revenue distribution between the companies. This way, each company inside the intercompany relationship can use this common chart of accounts and then map it to whatever accounts are in the destination company for the transaction. In our first scenario, I'll show you how you can distribute an expense across two partners in an intercompany relationship. I'll open a new purchase invoice. I'll select my vendor for a cleaning expense that we're going to incur. Notice that my account's already defaulted in for me using purchase codes. But what I'm going to do here is I have these intercompany partner codes here as well. So I'm going to choose the partner that should be billed for this expense. And I'll choose Kronos Holdings as my configured partner. And then I'll open up the intercompany reference, which is the intercompany chart of accounts. So I can book this to the intercompany chart of accounts of cleaning expense. And I'll just round out the rest of my invoice here. So I've now distributed $100 to Kronos Holdings that originated inside Kronos USA. So what we expect to see here if we preview our posting is we should see a credit to our trade payables inside Kronos USA for $100. And then we're also going to see an intercompany receivable that's due from Kronos Holdings back to Kronos USA. And you can see I already have references here to $61,550, which is my cleaning expense. But from this company's perspective, it's a wash of $100. And that $100 expense will go to the destination company. In our second scenario, I'm going to show you how one company can issue a purchase order seamlessly from another company that contains an intercompany relationship. So from Kronos USA, I'm going to open a new purchase order document. And if you recall from our initial intercompany setup page, we had a relationship that existed on a vendor ID. So Kronos Holdings is going to be our vendor that's going to supply us this information. And if I go here to vendor number V00130, you can see it's Kronos Holdings, which is in our relationship. And I'm going to purchase 5 lamps from Kronos Holdings. And again, this is a purchase order here, and you'll see up here in the top banner, we have all of our regular options, but we also have a send intercompany purchase order option up here. This will automatically create a sales order in the destination company that's linked to this document. So when I click on send intercompany purchase order, you'll see that I get a dialog here. It releases the transaction for me and says an entry for document 106051, which is my purchase order, has been created in Kronos Holdings. Now, if I switch companies and I go into Kronos Holdings, who's going to be supplying those lamps back to Kronos USA, I can simply go to my open sales orders. And at the bottom of my list here, I'm going to see an open sales order here from Kronos USA that was automatically sent based on the configuration I had in the intercompany setup. And you can see it has my reference to the original purchase order from the originating company. In addition to my sales order transaction from Kronos Holdings, I can also see the expense and journal distributions that came from other companies as well. For this, Business Central uses a inbox-outbox sort of methodology. So if I go to my intercompany inbox in Kronos Holdings, I can see that I have one transaction, which was an invoice with the invoice number that originated from Kronos USA. I can click on the details of it, and I can see that the intercompany partner is Kronos USA, so we'll have a $100 liability to pay them back for this expense that was distributed. And then we have $61,550, which was our cleaning expense that came over from the originating company as well. So I can choose to accept that transaction if I have it so configured, and I can carry out the line actions on it so that it distributes the transaction to my batches. And that is the basics of the intercompany module inside Business Central.